Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, we discuss about Azure Firewall. Azure Firewall is a managed cloud-native network security service that protects Azure virtual networks VNets by allowing or denying traffic based on rules. It is highly available, scalable, and stateful by default. So, what is stateful firewall? So, a stateful firewall is a firewall that tracks the state of active network connections and makes a decision based on the context of traffic, not just simply rules. Simple definition, it remembers who started the connection, which packets belongs to that connection, whether the traffic is valid or suspicious base, because it remembers connection connection information, it is called stateful. So what is Azure Firewall? Azure Firewall act as a central security gate for inbound, uh, outbound, and east-west traffic in Azure. Think of it as a cloud firewall appliance fully managed by Microsoft. So Azure Firewall act as a central security gate for inbound and outbound and east and west traffic in Azure. East and west traffic means Azure services, Azure networks, Azure subnet. So what are the services available in Azure App Services? So what are the services available in Azure? That is called east-west traffic. So between that resources traffic, it called as east-west traffic. So key features, feature stateful firewall. Description tracks connection automatically. High availability, built-in HA, no manual setup. Auto scaling scales automatically based on traffic. Centralized security, one firewall for multiple VNets. Threat intelligence blocks non-malicious IPs domains. FQDN filtering, allow or deny traffic by domain name. SNAT, DNAT, source and destination net supported. Logging and monitoring integrated with Azure Monitor and Log Analytics. So these are the features which Azure Firewall has. Azure Firewall components. Azure Firewall typically app VNet, DB VNet like that, and hub VNet. It connect to hub VNet. So next Azure Firewall. So next Internet. So this is the typical architecture diagram. Core components: firewall policy, central place to manage rules, collections, NAT rules, network rules, application rules, public IP. Public IP is required for firewall for inbound, outbound traffic. Azure Firewall subnet, it is mandatory and dedicated subnet. We can give /26. It comes. We get 64 IP addresses or larger. So 64 IP addresses subnet is enough for this configuration. And what is the hub and spoke network? We'll check. So what is the hub and spoke architecture in firewall? A hub and spoke architecture is a network design where a central network called the hub manages security and connectivity. So hub manages security and connectivity. Multiple smaller networks called spokes connect through the hub. So spokes connect to the hub. It is commonly used in cloud environments like Microsoft Azure for centralized firewall and network management. Simple idea. Imagine a wheel. Center of the wheel is called hub. Outer connected parts spokes. All traffic passes through the hub. Security inspection, routing, monitoring, internet access, everything passes through the hub. Components, hub network. Hub network, what are the components we have? The hub contains shared services such as firewall, VPN gateway, DNS, monitoring tools, security appliances. So hub network contains all these. Example, Azure Firewall, Bash and host, load balancer. So these are the hub networks. Spark networks. Spark, Sparks are separate networks for applications, departments, environments, dev or test or prod. Each spark connects to the hub instead of directly to other sparks. So each spark connect to the hub, not to other sparks. Suppose we have three sparks, and so that won't connect to each other, and it directly connect to hub. How traffic flows? Example flow: user in Spark user in Spark A wants to interact access. Sorry, user in Spark A wants internet access. Traffic goes to hub. Firewall checks the traffic. Allowed traffic goes to internet. Response returned through hub. This provides a centralized security control. Architecture diagram. So we have Spark 1, Spark 2, Spark 1, Spark 2, Spark 3, and it is connect to hub. And under the firewall, we configure hub and next internet. So what is firewall policy? A firewall policy is a set of rules and security settings that control how network traffic is allowed, denied, inspected, or monitored by a firewall. It acts like the brain of the firewall. Simple definition: a firewall policy defines which traffic is allowed or blocked based on rules. What is firewall policy controls? A firewall policy can control incoming traffic, outgoing traffic, allowed applications, blocked websites, ports and protocols, threat protection, network access rules. Firewall policy in cloud. Cloud platforms like Microsoft Azure uses centralized firewall policies. Example, Azure Firewall Policy. It helps manage multiple firewalls, shared security rules, centralized governance. So this is about the firewall policy. So core components, firewall policy in firewall, central place to manage rules. We discussed already. Rules collections. So rules collection will be there. NAT rules, network rules, application rules. So public IP, it required public IP for inbound and outbound traffic. Azure Firewall subnet, mandatory. It is dedicated subnet for only firewall. Rule type, rule types. Application rules. Application rules work on layer 7, HTTP and HTTPS traffic. It works on HTTP and HTTPS traffic used for web traffic. So this application rules used for web traffic. Allow HTTPS ://www.microsoft.com. Example. Allow star.google.com. So these are the examples. Network rules. These rules work on layer 3 and layer 4, used for IP, protocol, port. Okay, this work on IP, port number, protocol. What is the protocol? Uh, for example, allow TCP 10.0.0.0/8 to 172.16.0.0/16 on port 443. So we are allowing from this network to a class A network, class A private network to class B private network. All networks we are allowing on port 443. So this is example rule. NAT rules used for publishing internal services. So what NAT does, it map public IP to private IP. So multiple private IPs can be there, and it will give the separate port number. So used for publishing internal services. For example, public IP colon 443. It mapping to VM private IP 443. So this way rule created. So it map to public IP to private IP. So port number also it's giving 443 443. Azure Firewall SKUs. So in cloud environment, actually we call it as a stock keeping units SKUs. So in every object we can find in storage also we can find SKUs and VMs also we can find SKUs. So these are stock keeping unit. It kind of different versions are available in all the objects like storage, network, and as well as firewall also now. And what are the SKU types here? Basic, use case. It is for a small workloads, cost effective. So it is very less cost. Standard, most common enterprise scenarios. We use it for most common enterprise scenarios. Premium, premium SKU. It is advanced security, TLS inspection, IDPS. So what is TLS inspection and IDPS? What is TLS inspection? TLS inspection is a security feature where firewall decrypts encrypted internet traffic, checks it for threats, and then re-encrypt it before sending to the destination. So what firewall does is in TLS inspection, firewall decrypts encrypted internet traffic, checks it for threats. Any threats are there in the encrypted data that it will check and then re-encrypt it before sending to the destination. Again, it will re-encrypt the traffic and before sending to the destination. TLS, transport layer security. It protects HTTP websites and encrypted communication. So even encrypted packets also it decrypts and it uh, it checks whether any malicious or any virus files are there, any malwares are there. So it checks and after checking, it decrypt again, encrypt again, re-encrypt again, and send it to destination. Why TLS inspection is needed? Most internet traffic today is encrypted using HTTPS. So because most internet traffic nowadays they are encrypting, right? In encrypted files, hackers can hide some malware, viruses, ransomware, malicious files inside encrypted traffic. Without TLS inspection, the firewall cannot see hidden threats. So any hidden threats like hackers can inject malware, virus, ransomware, malicious files in the encrypted traffic, right? Mm, By using TLS inspection, it will decrypt and check and re-encrypt again. How TLS inspection works? Suppose user opens HTTP website. First one. Next step, firewall temporarily decrypt traffic. Okay. Firewall scans content. Saved traffic is re-encrypted. Traffic sent to the destination. Okay, like this it works. So this is called TLS inspection. And what is IDPS? IDPS is intrusion detection and prevention system. IDPS, intrusion detection and prevention. Any attacks are there, so that it prevents checks and prevents both. It does. What is IDPS? An IDPS monitors network traffic to detect cyber attacks, alert administrators, automatically block threats. It combines IDS, intrusion detection system, IPS intrusion protect prevention system. So it combines both. Difference between IDS and IPS. IDS detects attacks. IPS detects and block attacks. IPS prevention. Okay, send IDS send alerts. IPS takes action automatically. So only IDS only detects and sends alerts. This IPS real work it does, like takes action automatically. Monitoring only active protection. Active protection only it monitors. No, no, no. Actually, this one IDS only monitoring and IPS active protection. So it prevent the attacks. What IDPS can detect? So IDPS intrusion detection and prevention system can detect malware attacks, port scanning, SQL injection, DDoS attacks, and brute force login attempts, suspicious traffic patterns. So these all it detects IDPS and detects and prevents as well. So that's all about IDPS, intrusion detection and prevention system. So premium features. So Azure Firewall premium feature here we discussed, right? Premium. So premium has TLS inspection, intrusion detection and prevention system, web categories filtering. So what is web categories filtering? So it filters websites. Web traffic filtering. What is web traffic filtering? Web filtering controls which website users can access. So it defines. It helps organization block harmful website, restrict unwanted content, improve productivity, prevent malware access. So these are all things it does. Web traffic filtering will handle. Example: a company may allow business websites, block gaming sites. The company usually they do, right. Allow business websites, block gaming sites, block adult content. Any adult content, it blocks automatically. It happens. By default, every company take these steps and configuration they do in their firewalls. Restrict social media. So these all things, almost all companies they do. So they allow business websites only, block gaming sites, block adult content, restrict social media. How it works? User try to open website. Firewall checks category by policy. Category and policy. We also configure policy, right? So category and policy. Website is allowed or blocked. So based on that, website is allowed or blocked, it decide. So premium features have these additional premium SKU has these additional features. TLS inspection, intrusion detection and prevention system, web categories filtering. Azure Firewall versus network security versus network virtual appliance. So what are the differences? Feature layer. So layer wise NSG support L3, L4 layer 3 and layer 4. Network security group it supports and layer 3 and layer 4. Azure Firewall layer 3 to layer 7 it supports. So that and the traffic it filters. Only this NSG filters L3, L4, L3 layer, L4 layer traffic, and Azure Firewall L3, L4, L5, L6, L7. Up to L7 it filters. Network virtual appliance also L3 to L7 managed. So whether it is managed or not, network security group it is managed. Azure Firewall it is fully managed. Network virtual appliance, no management is there. Auto scale. Auto scale, whether it is NSG network security group will auto scale? No. Azure Firewall will auto scale? Yes. And network virtual appliance, it will be auto scale but manual. Cost, NSG is free. Network security group, we can create free of cost. Azure Firewall, paid service. And network virtual appliance, only VM cost only we have to pay. So network virtual appliance we configure in one VM. So we have to pay that VM cost. Centralized. Is it centralized? NSG is limited. It's not centralized. So it works in that particular VNet and subnet only. So sorry, particular VNet's subnet, only one VNet subnet NSG. Azure Firewall, it is centralized. So we can configure on all VNets and all regions. We can apply on all regions VNets. Network virtual appliance also we can apply. It is also centralized. Azure Firewall, typical use cases. So, in what cases we use Azure Firewall? Secure internet access for VMs. So, secure internet access for VMs. VM's internet connection should be secure. In that case, we use Azure Firewall. Hub and spoke network security. We already discussed about hub and spoke network, how it is configured. So, this environment, this environment's network security, we use firewall. Protect AKS outbound traffic. So Azure Kubernetes service outbound traffic we want to protect. In that case, we use Azure Firewall. Control SaaS access, software as a service access. We can control by using FQDN rules, fully qualified domain name rules. Typical replace traditional on-prem firewalls. So Azure Firewall replaces all traditional on-prem firewalls. Earlier days we were seeing like hardware firewalls. Those were configuring in on-premises. So Azure Firewall will replace all the firewalls like that. So it can work better than those firewalls, and uh, it is a software firewall managed by Azure. Azure Firewall monitoring and logs. Azure Firewall integrates with Azure Monitor, Log Analytics. This is a storage space, and mm, we configure it for storing the logs. So Azure Monitor logs as well as Firewall logs also it stores in the log analytics space if we configure. Azure Sentinel. Azure Sentinel is a SIEM tool. Okay, SIEM tool, security, sec, SIEM security. That is like a, just a minute. I'll show you what is SIEM. Security and event management something. SIEM full form. Security information and event management. SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management. It is a core cybersecurity solution that collects, aggregates, and analyzes security data from across an entire IT infrastructure to detect threats and manage security incidents in real time. So, Security Information and Event Management (SIEM). So, it is used in cybersecurity solutions. So security team, network team also, security team mostly uses this tool, cyber for cyber security. Okay, Microsoft Sentinel is the one of the SIEM tool. So other SIEM tools also there in the market, like Splunk, and also other SIEM tools. Splunk is one SIEM tool, uh, and also Microsoft Sentinel. Some other SIEM tools are available. So when we discuss about that, we'll just explore on that. Log includes application rule logs, network rule logs, DNS logs, threat intelligence logs. So what are the logs included in firewall? Application rule logs, network rule logs, DNS logs, threat intelligence logs. All these logs will be stored in log analytics workspace. Pricing. Azure Firewall pricing is based on firewall deployment cost per hour. So how many hours we are using firewall? So per hour basis it will link data processed per GB. So how much data processed in particular time, based on that also it bills. So Azure Firewall pricing is based on two things, two factors: firewall deployment cost as well as data process. Premium SKU costs more due to advanced security features. So we discussed about SKUs, basic, premium, and standard, right? So premium SKU costs more due to advanced security features. So it costs more because of advanced security features. So best practices: use firewall policy for multi firewall management. So we discussed what is firewall policy. So we can configure one firewall policy and we can apply centrally. We can configure one firewall policy. We can apply it across the organization firewalls and resources. So the firewall best practices are use firewall policy for multi firewall management. So we can configure on firewall and we can manage. We can apply to that firewall to all firewalls, all small firewalls uh, belongs. Main firewall will be there, and there we create one policy and we apply to all other branch firewalls. So let's say we have one firewall in the main branch, and we have sub branches also. In that sub branches, we have other firewalls. So if we create policy, if we create a firewall policy and main branch, and that can be applied on sub branch firewalls also. Like that, we manage. Deploy in hub vnet. So hub and spoke we discussed, right? And so it deploy in a hub vnet. Okay, and so if we deploy in hub vnet, it will apply to all the vnets belongs to that one. Enable threat intelligence, alert and deny. So threat intelligence. So threat intelligence, it identify the threats proactively. So alert and deny. So alert and deny, and it gives alert as well as it denies. Use UDR, user defined routing. So 0.0.0.0 to force traffic via firewall. So all the traffic. So this means all the traffic, force traffic via firewall. We have to route all the traffic through firewall. Then it goes to firewall, and firewall will check and block any unwanted traffic. Combine with NSGs for micro segmentation. So combine with NSGs. So this firewall configuration we should combine with the NSG, network security groups, for micro segmentation. So micro segmentation. What micro segmentation? So we will we will we will divide each and every network and each and every subnet, so that so if attacker attacks any subnet, one subnet, and if we enable rules on each subnet, each and rules on each subnet, NSG rules, network security groups we create on each subnet. Suppose attackers enter into one subnet, he can't freely enter into other subnet because of rules. So that is called as micro segmentation. So we divide a small subnet to we just separated rules with the small subnets by using by help of NSGs, network security groups. That way we isolate each and every subnet, and each and every subnet has different rules. Because of that, no one can enter into other subnets also. So that way we can prevent attacks and all. So exams, whenever we go to exams, Azure admin or architect, Azure Firewall, we have to remember that Azure Firewall is a stateful firewall. What it does, it identify the active connections, and it works based on the content, not just the rules. Like that it works. And we already discussed about stateful firewall. Requires Azure Firewall subnet. So firewall requires a separate Azure Firewall subnet. Works best in hub spoke architecture. So Azure Firewall, it works best in a hub spoke architecture. We already discussed hub spoke architecture. Hub is the center, and spokes are branches, like that. Premium SKU supports TLS inspection. So premium SKU, this is very important. TLS inspection, it supports TLS, transport layer security. It to decrypt the encrypted data and check the packets. What packets are packets are going and coming. Sorry, what packets are there inside the encrypted data. After decrypt, it checks, and it encrypts, and it send it to destination. And network security group and firewall are not similar. They use for different purposes. So these all things we have to remember. So thank you.